The development Cristopher Sanchez had this year was pretty unexpected. I was looking into it a little bit more today, and I still couldn't believe just how good he was last year. Two of his pitches, the changeup and sinker, were two of the better pitches of those kinds in baseball, especially the changeup. He had unbelievable success with the changeup this past year. The guy turned 27 in December, so he's still young. I don't think people understand how valuable it is to have a guy develop like that when he's still pre-arbitration too, and you can get more than back end production out of him as a back end guy. What do you got on Chris Sanchez, man? He was awesome last year.
Like a branch off from him is like he has no more options. So he's either in the rotation or he's in the bullpen. You kind of need him to be what he was last year, and then maybe even a little bit better. If he didn't give up home runs, I swear his ERA would have been like 1.5. Like it was ridiculous. The only runs he gave up was home runs, and it was pretty consistent. So I think if he gives up less home runs, he's probably going to be like a number 3 starter roughly, because he has that huge potential. The changeup will get anybody out. Left hand, right hand, doesn't matter. But my only worry with him is that was his most innings in a season, 150. So you have to kind of worry if he goes too far over that, which he shouldn't. But I think he has great potential. I gave him a B+ for last year because you basically had no expectations for him. He was kind of like a afterthought.
Like you said, Drew, he threw 150 innings last year. Before that, I went back and looked. He hadn't thrown over 100 between AAA and MLB combined at any point in his career or any season in the minor leagues. He also threw 2,300 pitches. He had never thrown over 1,600 prior to that in a year. That's not easy to just come in there and do that and then do it as successfully as he did. You don't see that too often. He walked 4% of hitters and had a 57% ground ball rate, which were both like top 5% marks in the league. The changeup, you can get anyone out on that. 148 batting average against and a 40.6 strikeout percentage on that pitch. Second in vertical movement and also 8th in horizontal movement. And then you have a sinker, which was 13th in vertical movement and 3rd in horizontal movement. When you have those two pitches that are playing off of each other and the hitter can't just sit on one of those, especially can't sit on the changeup, that's really tough. You kind of just wait and see if you can hit the slider, honestly, at that point. That pitch did scare me a little bit. It's definitely not his best pitch, but it's another pitch to mix in there. It's not a bad pitch by any means, but it just hangs a little bit. I don't know if that's going to be too effective against righties. Again, he's not going to be using it nearly as much as the other two pitches, so it's really just kind of a change of pace pitch. He's going to give up hits off of the sinker. That's just baseball. You're going to give up hits off your fastball, and guys are going to get lucky hits too, especially that's not really a punch-out pitch for him. He's not going to get a lot of swings and misses off of it. Goal is to get weak contact, so you're going to give up some singles from time to time. But I still thought that was a really good pitch for him this past year, playing off the changeup, as I mentioned. And obviously his playoff start did not go perfect. It wasn't great. And he could have helped himself if he was a little more aware on that double play ball. That happened. It's going to happen when you don't pitch for 2.5 weeks. Yeah. That's not an excuse. That can't happen. You just got to be mentally aware there, even as a pitcher. It's his first playoff start. He's not a guy who we thought was going to go very deep into that game. We were going to rely on the bullpen for most of that game. And he's going to get better too. Like I think he's going to have a solid year, and I think he's going to learn from that playoff start and come back in the playoffs next year and maybe give us a few more innings. I don't know. But I gave him an A. I felt pretty good about where he was at relative to expectations this year. And I've always liked Cristopher Sanchez. I thought he was going to be a long man for us at one point, a pretty good long man. I never expected anything close to what he did last year. I just did not see that coming. So that's why I graded him a little bit higher, a little bit biased too. But what a season, man. He was unbelievable this past year. And yeah, like you said, I don't think there's any question of whether he's going to be in the rotation or not at all. I think he is in it next year. And I think if they want to add someone, they'll maybe do a 6th guy, or they might move Taiwan at some point. I don't know if I see that happening, but I don't think Cristopher Sanchez will be the odd man out, point being.
I mean, there's really no way for him to be, because he'll never pass through waivers. Like he'll go clean. He'll get clean. So he's either on the roster or he's on another team.